Clinical attributes are used in the annotator for clinical data to annotate pertinent clinical data for your solution domain. Each clinical attribute has an associated value. Values can be statically defined or can be discovered from the clinical text. The annotator for clinical data contains an annotator with a set of built-in patterns for discovering values and associating those values with concepts. There are some cases where you may want the ability to customize how values are annotated. In this video, we will demonstrate how to customize values associated with clinical attributes using the Annotator for Clinical Data Configuration Editor. For our demonstration today, I have a cartridge that annotates pertinent clinical attributes for a patient regarding a weight management visit. In this scenario, we've created a number of attributes that annotate information, such as the patient's age and gender. Our scenario also includes a few cases where we will customize the values associated with the attributes we have created. Going to preview and running our text that we are going to use for this demonstration, you can see that we have a visit date attribute that is intended to capture the office visit date. However, notice that this attribute does not have a date associated with it. If we hover over that visit date attribute in the text on the left, you can see that the attribute actually has a value of true. Instead, we want to capture this actual date and associate that with our visit date attribute. To do this, since dates are not associated as values by default, we can add a custom value to pick up that date as a concept value. To create a custom value, we first need to create a custom value dictionary. To do this, we can go to the Cartridge tab on the right and select Create New Dictionary. I'm going to name this dictionary Weight Management Custom Values. And we have to change the type from Concept Dictionary to a custom value dictionary. Selecting to create, we can now see that new custom value dictionary in our cartridge on the right, and we can select it to open it. I'm going to add a new concept to this dictionary, and this is going to be our date. We will also use date for the dimension. And in order to capture the date, we are going to use a surface form expression. Here you can put in a Java regular expression. And you can see that since we did not specify a value for that concept, once this concept is matched based on the expression, that matched text will be the value. Creating this and going back to preview and rerunning through ACD, you can now see that we have a custom value concept over the date. And you can see for that visit date attribute, it is pulling out that value of 4/26/2019 and associating it with that visit date attribute. In some cases, you may need to associate a concept with a static value. In our example, we have a disease attribute that indicates that our patient has chronic kidney disease. However, this attribute does not capture that value for stage 3, which we would like to associate with that kidney disease. Again, we can create a custom value to represent that disease stage. Going back to our custom value dictionary, we will again click that plus button to add a new concept. This time we're creating a concept for the disease stage, and in this instance, we are creating one for stage 3. For the value, we want to specify a static value of 3, as that is the stage that the disease is, and we will set the dimension to stage as well. For the surface forms, we know that it could appear as stage 3 or as stage 3 with the numeric. Creating this, and again going back to preview and rerunning, we can see that we now have over the text, over the chronic kidney disease stage 3, we have the attribute disease with the preferred name chronic kidney disease. And you can see that the value is 3, as it is for our custom value. Another aspect you may want to customize is the comparisons that are used to trigger a concept value. Notice in our text that we are matching an attribute about weight gain. But in the second reference, we are not capturing that she had a weight gain of greater than 10%. To capture this value, we can customize the comparison triggers used by the concept value annotator. First, we need another new artifact, in this case, a custom comparison dictionary. So creating a new dictionary, we will call this weight management custom comparison. And again, we need to change the type, this time to a custom comparison dictionary. Opening up that new dictionary, we need to add a new comparison. For this preferred name, we will call it greater than. And the comparison is also going to be greater than. And the surface form is plus, as that is the text that we saw in our note. So creating this new concept and going back to preview and rerunning, you can see that now weight gain plus 10% is all annotated as the attribute weight gain. You can see that the operator for this is greater than, and the value is 10%. So our attribute has a value of greater than 10%. In the previous examples, we were able to create custom values or comparisons to customize how the concept value annotator associated values with their corresponding concepts. Sometimes, though, we need more control of how the values are associated with the concepts. In this case, we can create rules to derive the concept values that will then be picked up by our attributes. In our text, we can see that we are not capturing the percentage that is associated with the patient's ideal body weight. We will use a derived concept value to capture that percent value for ideal body weight. First, we need a custom value created for our percentage. Let's go back to our custom value dictionary. We will create a new concept, which will be percentage, and the units will be the percent sign, and the dimension we also want to specify percentage. We will use this value later to select the kind of custom values we want to associate with our ideal body weight concept. In this case, we will use a surface form expression to capture the percent value. I'm going to put that in here in the surface form expression box, and you can see that in the first part of the expression, we have a value capture group. This will capture the digits of the percent as the value for this particular concept. The last part of the surface form expression states that we only want to capture those digits as a value for this custom value when it is followed by either the percent sign, the word percent, or the word percentage. If you have more questions about how to specify a value with a value capture group, you can use the question mark next to the value label in order to see more information on how to capture that information. I will now create that, and going back to preview and rerunning, you'll notice that there is now a concept fired over the 173%. You can see that it is type WHCS custom value, and it pulls out, it states that the dimension is percentage as we specified, the value is 173, and the units is percent. We can now use that custom value with our derived concept rule to associate it with the ideal body weight concept. Next, we have to create a derived concept set. We can do this again either in that right cartridge pane or by going back to the cartridge tab and selecting to add here. Here I am going to add a new derived concept set. We will call this weight management derived concepts and create. Entering this derived concept set, we will click the plus sign to add our new derived concept. For the output type, we need to select it as a concept value. For the preferred name, we are going to name it ideal body weight percentage. And next, we need to specify the concepts that should be matched to fire this derived concept. The first thing we expect is our percentage custom value. So in this first selection, we need to change it to custom value. And instead of matching on all fields, we don't want to match any custom values. Instead, we want to specifically match our percentage custom value. So we are going to change the match field to dimension. And we again are going to match on a dimension of percentage. Now we need to add another selection to match our ideal body weight concept. For this, we want to match a concept where the concept identifier is our ideal body weight concept identifier. Since our attribute is already configured to match on concepts with our ideal body weight CUI, let's use this as the CUI for our derived concept value. So for the concept identifier of this concept value derived concept, we want to change it from a defined concept identifier by clicking on this arrow and selecting to detect from target. We can then select from our selections which of these is the target. Selecting this concept means that when this derived concept is found, we will detect that concept identifier from our target selection, which in this case is going to be that concept identifier for our ideal body weight concept. Saving this new derived concept and going back to preview and rerunning, you can see we now have an attribute over 173% of her ideal body weight. And hovering over that, we can see that the attribute name is ideal body weight percentage, and it has a value of 173 with the units of percent. In this video, we have explored how to customize values associated with clinical attributes. We defined custom values for dates and disease stages. We customized the comparison operators to include plus as a greater than operator. These custom values and comparisons were used by the concept value annotator to match values to concepts. Finally, we derived a concept value using our own language pattern with derived concepts.